2. Commit yourself to give up your grudges. I want you to listen to these words from the book of Colossians, because in them you hear the second challenge I believe God wants you to rise to if you want to make 2012 a significant turning point in your life. Bear with each other and forgive each other whatsoever grievances you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. Colossians 3:13. Do you catch that challenge? God in those words is challenging you directly and personally to give up your grudges. What good's it doing you anyways? That is what he means when he says forgive each other whatsoever grievances you may have against one another. What's a grudge? A grudge is a deep, ongoing resentment that we cultivate in our hearts against someone else. A grudge is an unforgiving spirit that leads to unforgiving attitudes and unforgiving actions. Now, I know you know what I'm talking about. Harboring a grudge is about nursing a dislike for someone. What you need to know is that grudges are dangerous because they are destructive. Grudges destroy marriages. Grudges break up family. Grudges ruin friendships. Grudges split churches. Let's be honest enough to admit that one of the scandals of the church is the grudges that Christians hold against one another. Today, if you know you're holding a grudge against someone, then God has something to say to you. He says to give it up. I want to remind you that grudges are not so destructive as they are self-destructive. When you hold a grudge against someone, you will hurt yourself as much more, and perhaps more, than you will hurt the person you're holding it against. The book of Job, chapter 21, describes people who have no happiness at all. They live and die with bitter hearts. Do you really want that to be your life? Do you really want to live a life full of unhappiness because of the hatred and the bitterness you have for somebody else? There's many reasons I could be bitter tonight, but I choose not to be bitter. I choose not to hold the grudges because I'm better than they are, because I'm stronger, because I choose not to allow things get to me. And that's how we need to be tonight. We can't hold grudges against somebody. I'm not saying I never have held grudges, but God had to release me from it, and God has to release you from it. Do you remember the parable that Jesus told about the servant who was forgiven a huge debt by the king and then refused to forgive someone else a tiny amount? Jesus said his unforgiving spirit landed him in prison. Michael Sudo makes this interesting comment on one of his books. He's saying, unforgiven servants always end up in prison. Prison of anger, guilt, and depression. God says to simply let go. God says in His Word, don't sentence yourself to prison. Set yourself free. Give up your grudges. Forgive each other whatsoever grievances you may have against one another.